Thanks, everyone. My name is Jose. I'm a developer currently working with Import. Tonight, I'm going to discuss about continuous delivery for mobile apps. I hope the clicker works. Does everyone know here about Tesla? Yeah, Tesla creates electric cars, so there's no, I guess, petrol engine in these things. We know that software is a big part of the actual car itself, but does everyone know that they're actually using continuous delivery, continuous deployment to install the software, update the software in the cars? I didn't know until I actually started researching on the subject. I sent Alec an email a month back and said, okay, this is an interesting topic to, I guess, learn about and present. And that was the end of actually the last meetup. We were talking about, okay, what sort of like topics are interesting. But yeah, it's true. Tesla is actually using continuous delivery to update software. And it's, mind you, it's not just the software running the dashboard. It's basically the software that runs the whole car, controlling the acceleration, ride height, and that sort of thing. So it's actually quite a big thing. Okay, what's continuous delivery? I'll just read what Martin Fowler defined continuous delivery as. He said, continuous delivery is a software development discipline where you build software in such a way that it can be released to production at any time. It's not that we actually want to release every time we do a build. It's just that we are in a position to release if we want to. Benefits of continuous delivery. Number one is reduce the lead time. What do you define lead time? Lead time is the time from the inception of the idea to for the software to be in the hands of the customer. Or it can be defined as when the bug was discovered up to the time when the solution the fix was in the hands of the clients. It gives you faster feedback. So a couple of things: faster feedback from developer to the client or the customer. Also faster feedback in the sense that in a development team using Agile and using continuous deployment, delivery, and integration, you get faster feedback when things go wrong. You can quickly fix it. It also gives you higher quality releases. So you actually go through the process so many times, every single day, every single push to the repository, that releasing is a non-issue anymore. It's sort of like very, very natural process. So it's not such a big deal anymore. It also improves the team's emotional well-being. I know this for a fact. I really just developed mobile apps not too long, probably 8-9 months. But when I started, it was such an emotional roller coaster when we actually released to the App Store. So the next slide, I'm going to show you a slide I got from Atlassian. So the blog was talking about the emotional cycles of manual delivery. The y-axis, basically, going up is happiness, and going down is sadness and the emotional well-being. So when you're going through a release, this is sort of the cycle that you go through. And what we want with continuous delivery is sort of like maybe flatten this sort of a wave a little bit, so we won't have the depth of these extremes of the low emotional and high emotional states. So I've got 2 demos tonight. I'll just quickly show you what my app is about. It's a very basic, stock standard Xamarin Forms app. If I can click it. No, sorry. Forgot about that. So it's just a hello world basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify the code just so that we can see things moving. What I'm going to do is just add a background color in it. It's not as responsive to my save. There's a bit of a delay when I so I'm just gonna commit this and push to my source control. Come on, move. I haven't had this connected to my Wi-Fi, so I just on my personal hotspot. So that should push to my personal source control repo and kick off the build. My setup is I've got Team City. If you can see, I've got the top SID Xamarin app, the debug build, which is sort of like an integration build with a short feedback cycle. The next one is ad hoc build, which is a little bit longer. The only thing different is on the top it does a build, unit test, and promote to HockeyApp. That's quick, probably around 5 minutes. The lower one, I normally run it as part of the nightly build. So it's like it does an integration build, unit test, UI test, promote HockeyApp, and also as a does some deployment to iTunes Connect as part of it. So hopefully that'll finish and give us a notification, and I'll just continue. Okay, so what are the challenges for mobile continuous delivery? Being a web developer, I know we've been doing this day in, day out, CI, CD. However, personally anyway, I haven't really used CD in mobile apps before. I mean, hands up who's actually using CD in mobile apps.
I can't, the App Store prevents it. Okay. So no,
The full.
Like a 7-day review cycle prevents that instant.
Oh yeah, of course. But the process of actually deploying it, it's the same. Yeah, when I started, researching about it, I thought of initially using. Anyway, I'll discuss a little bit later about it. Okay, continuous delivery is not yet mainstream in mobile development yet, but with the tools that we have right now, VSTS, Bitrise, it's getting more and more doable. Second is automated mobile testing is still hard to do, but with the advent of a couple of I guess third-party like Test Cloud or maybe Perfecto Mobile. They basically have real devices on in their premises to deploy our UI tests to. Yeah, Apple review process has been quite uncertain. A couple of months ago, when I first deployed my app to the App Store, there was sort of like a 7 to 10 day waiting period. But it has since improved a lot in the past month, a bit maybe. The last one was, for me, it took about 1.5 days. So that's pretty good, better than waiting 2 weeks. There's also lots of complexity around code signing and distribution, but there's a few tools that can help us in this. When I was researching about it, that's when I learned about the Fastlane tools. Jeff has kindly introduced me to it, and a couple of utilities that can help manage your code signing and delivering to the App Store, basically. Okay, so I'll just give you a description of what my pipeline is right now, tonight. So I'm using TeamCD to basically, it's sort of like the orchestrator. I mean, it's not really, I'm not really using TeamC as such. It's basically the star of tonight's talk is basically Cake. So Cake's doing everything for me. I'm just using TeamCD to sort of like to call the scripts in Cake. I'm using Git as my source control, UITest, nUnit, Xamarin UITest, which I'm using nUnit console to sort of like run the tests and report the results. I'm using HockeyApp for me to sort of like deploy my apps to my beta users. And lastly, I use Fastlane tools. Well, one in particular, Deliver, which allows me to, well, of course, submit my binary package to the App Store, and of course, submit metadata, description, keywords, and everything. Screenshots. Well, screenshots is a bit of an issue at the moment with Xamarin, but there's a gap there. But hopefully, in the near future, we're gonna fix that, or someone can fix that. So. Quickly, Cake is cross-platform build automation system, the C# DSL. So it can do all sorts of things: compiling code, copy files, copy folders, running unit tests, everything. When I started with this, researching about it, I was using Fake at work, which works fine. But when Jeff Huntley, suggested I use Cake, I said, okay, I'll give it a try, and then realized, hold on, this is so much easier. So much, the very first time I used it, I was immediately productive, because of course it's just C#, so I recommend everyone to use it. And being a script, I could have everything in source control. That's the main thing for me anyway. Cake's got lots of built-in functionality, nUnit, build system, you can pass arguments to it, modify assembly info, many things. I haven't listed everything here, but it's got pretty much 90% of what we need. If it's not there, we've got the ability to add add-ins to it, and we've got available add-ins that we use, I use in my demo, Xamarin, Slack, and some of the file helpers. Yeah. So, yeah, please use Cake. Has anyone used Cake here before? Or yeah, you like using it? Good. Yeah. So what we do in our scripts right now, so we do restore Nuget packages, stock standard, Xamarin components. We update assembly info from the version in the release notes. So in my folders structure, I've got a release notes MD file, which is a markdown file. So what the script does is reads that file, modifies assembly info, and modifies the info plist with a version from the release notes. I prepare icons. I've got two versions of the app, one debug, one ad hoc. Mainly the ad hoc's the one with the colored icon, and the debug ones I sort of like made it a little bit gray. I could have installed it as a one app, but I wanted to install them side by side. So for example, in debug, have it connected to my test REST API, and the release or the ad hoc one connected to some other endpoint. Clean output folders, build solutions, that's standard. And I also publish artifacts to TeamCD. So I've got libraries in Cake, add-in to publish the artifact to TeamCity. Run unit test, run UITest, promote build to HockeyApp, send Slack notifications, and lastly use the deliver utility to send submission to iTunes Connect. Anyone wants to see real code? Okay. Can't see my mouse. So that's our app now. I can see that it actually did a build and deploy to HockeyApp. So it should be there. Should be. So we've got HockeyApp. I've got 2 builds here. I've got my debug build, which is the one we just pushed. And if we check the time, I think that's it. 7/13th, install it. Installing. See, that's slow. I forgot to show you that actually sent a notification to my Slack that the build is available. I've got a link. When I click on it, it brings up Slack. It brings up HockeyApp. Hopefully that install finished. And that's our app. So I've changed the background to be gray. So blue. So actually that worked, right? Okay. Just quickly show you 3 things in the script. So this is my
Zoom. Command plus.
Okay. So this is my project structure. I've got metadata folder, screenshots. That's what deliver uses to sort of like when it tries to push data to iTunes Connect. So if you have a look at the metadata folder, we've got some folders on the description. You see it? Sorry. Keywords. So in the description, of course, you'll find some description that whatever you input here would end up in iTunes Connect. So I've got one. I'm having some issues trying to move the mouse. Okay, so one, I'll probably just go through one because okay, the build task. So Cake works with dependencies. So you can specify dependencies on a task depends on other tasks. So in this particular example, the build task is dependent on all of those. And the last one is the prepare icon. So basically what happens is it runs prepare icons first and then update applist and goes up until it runs the build. So prepare icons is basically just to copy files, copy icons So I already have gray icons there. So if it's this particular build, I just copy those to the right folder.
So it allows the QA to see what's production, what's
Yes.
QA build.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Previous to this, I had the same icons, and they were basically just guessing. Okay, this is QA, or this is staging, or this is production.
So you're able to change bundle identifiers and everything, so that you get
Yeah.
two separate.
Yeah. Yeah.
incidents?
I had to create two bundle identifiers. One had dot staging, the other one had dot app, or just the dot app. So in addition to that, the next one is I did an update app list. Update Apple P list. So what that does is can't control the mouse. So what that does is the plist file deserializes the plist and changes the versions based on the version on in the
So these
the release notes.
methods, you've got like a deserialized plist,
Yeah.
and reserialized.
Yeah.
These are all from libraries. That
Yes.
Cake
Yes.
provide you?
Yes. That's right. Yeah.
Someone's already done
So for
it.
example, deserialized plist, I believe that's a built-in functionality from Cake.
Right.
If not, then it's gonna be, you've got add-ins you can put on the top of the list, on the top of the file. So if it's a built-in, you don't have to put it in. But if it's an add-in, then say for example, Cake helpers.
The second one there, cake.plist, might be the.
Okay. Yeah.
It's an add-in for iOS, and I did the Android one. But yeah, it's everything you want for Xamarin's there.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really used this in a production, but I'd like to use it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it does the assembly info as well, similar to plist. Restore.
Xamarin App Store. The Xamarin Component Store as well.
Oh yeah, restore components. Yep, it restores components from the Xamarin component store. So you just specify username, password.
So when you're saying restore packages, restore components, these are functions.
Yes.
Are you trying to get them to automatically refresh?
Yes.
Well, your source control contains metadata.
Yeah, it doesn't contain the
the
packages.
Packages
Yeah.
which has to download either from Nuget
Yes.
or from the Xamarin Component Store. The Xamarin Component Store is a commercial licensed thing, so if you purchase commercial software,
Yes.
you have to restore it with your credentials because it's not publicly accessible.
The basic reason you need to do a restore is because the machine that's running the build script is not necessarily the one you're using to do the development.
Yeah.
So say for example, the restore components, you have to specify username, password, but well, you don't want your username, password in the script itself. So I injected it in as an environment variable, and there's functionality in Cake to add that in. So the environment variable is actually in the TeamCity environment. Pass it in the script.
And that's where you're saying Team City is really just hosting all
Yeah.
this stuff and
Yeah.
giving you an overarching.
Yeah. So the reason I wanted to do that is, say for example, I didn't have TeamCity. I want my scripts to basically just run. I can run it from the command line if I wanted to, right? And yeah, the build is pretty simple. All it does is really just clean folders, do a .NET build. .NET build is also another functionality exposed by Cake. Pass parameters to it, and yeah, that's it. Build done. Then you publish artifacts. That's another functionality from Cake. What I'm basically doing is publishing everything. So if I go back to my TeamCity, my artifact is everything, including the folder containing the IPA files. So
is TeamCity absorbing these scripts, or just hosting them and running them somewhere? Or?
well, yeah, TeamCity is basically running it on my build. The way I've made it is that I've set up TeamCity as a local host, and my Mac agent is this machine. So if I had this like in the cloud, say for example, then I would probably need, I haven't done it before, but we probably need like a Mac in cloud functionality, so you can build it. But what TeamCity does is it detects that there's a push to your repository. It grabs everything to whatever location TeamCity decides on, and runs the build on that folder. Okay. And this, I should say, artifacts are in TeamCity's artifact repository, or you can point it anywhere you want. Sorry. Quickly, I just think I have got one. I want to show you the last one is deliver to iTunes Connect. It's very simple. I mean, currently we don't have an add-in for Fastlane tools. So Fastlane tools allows us to submit our IPA file package to iTunes Connect with all the text that comes with it, screenshots. Currently we don't have an add-in for Cake. So, but the thing is, Cake's got a built-in functionality to be able to call command line executables from the command line. So because of that, like deliver is just a utility from Fastlane. It's basically using some item transporter and some other APIs. They built it together in an easy-to-use command line functionality. So I just called it deliver and pass parameters force, which is basically I just want you to do it without any questions, and passing the IPA file. So the IPA file is the file I submit to iTunes Connect. I haven't got an example of it running, but I can definitely show you an output of how it looks like. So my last build, mouse move, come on. Come on. Okay, so that's my deliver to iTunes Connect method. It does start and return process, calls deliver, pass the parameters, and this is basically what it looks like when it's running. Pass the IPA file here, loads all the metadata from your files. Mind you, all these ones are in source control, so as opposed to before, you had to log into iTunes Connect and type everything in there. What's good about this one is everything is source control, so if you want to modify anything, everything can be scripted. And I'll say, this might take a few minutes, iTunes Transporter, that's actually Apple's command line utility. And then, okay, successfully uploaded to iTunes Connect, might take a few minutes. So it takes about 10 minutes for your binary to appear in iTunes. So once it's in iTunes Connect, it will basically look like this.
Can you drive it all the way through to the release?
Sorry?
Because you know how this two-stage process with iTunes Connect, you have to go and release the binary once it's been once it's gone through, then you approve it.
Yes, that's right. With
iTunes Connect, an iTunes uploader command that would actually release it automatically.
Yeah, well, you can actually say set it up so that it'll tick this one and say automatically release after you upload it, and you can.
About the beta testing.
The test flight.
Yeah.
I haven't used test flight before.
Yeah, I thought there was a command line option to release to test flight. Just wondering if that drives through here too.
Can you do a test flight with deliver?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So what happens is there's an engineer called Felix. He's one of the lead engineers at Twitter for mobile dev. Twitter acquired the company he worked for, Fabric, and they make Fastlane. And there is no API by Apple to do this stuff. It's ridiculous. It doesn't exist. So he made this thing, and the team, they made this thing which scrapes the web page. So when you're actually running Fastlane, it's actually he's actually supports a web scraper that uploads and navigates to each one of these tabs and uploads and configures your release any way you want it. And he provides a DSL that's a text file. You update the YAML, and he scrapes and updates the web page. Every time Apple releases an update to iTunes Connect, he removes that pain from you. He scrapes it for you. It's magical.
So, I mean, here's a couple of binaries I've uploaded last night. So, it'll end up there. You'll end up selecting that, and you'll say, click on Submit for Review. But you can do all of that automatically if you wanted to. So, I mean, depending on your situation, I myself, I want to have some sort of control. I want to sort of like click on a button. But if you don't really want to do that, you can say just deploy, submit for review, and then you can tick on that box saying automatically release after you did Apple comes back. So in effect, you can actually do deploy all the way to the App Store if you wanted to. Yeah. So I think that's all. Yeah, just quick summary. You should take advantage of continuous delivery right now. We've got lots of options for orchestrators. We've got TeamCity, BSTS, Bitrise, Jenkins, everything. Cake is perfect for scripts like this because you can have it in source control. And you can automate all the way to the App Store if you like. In this instance, we borrowed tools from our iOS and Android, iOS developers. Fastlane, I haven't heard of it before until I actually researched on this topic for a presentation. It's not really that hard, and it's quite fun, especially in C#. A little bit about me, sorry. My name's Jose Reyes. It's a Spanish name, but I'm from the Philippines. But if you've got any questions, just hit me up an email yeah, so.
Awesome.
If you've got any questions, that's my app on the App Store right now. So if I've got some references here for you. I have all the scripts available. If you wanted to use it, feel free to use it in your side projects or at home at work. Yeah, everything's there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are your costs for running that setup? Do you have any costs with TeamCity?
No, because I've got just 2 projects.
Oh.
Yeah, and TeamCity gives you 20.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for free.
What's the cost to run an Azure VM? That's basically the cost.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've got to host it.
Yeah, you could host it.
Or in this example, it's just in the local machine, so that's cool. But if you've got to host it, you've got to use a Mac agent, Mac in cloud, or.
So if you host locally, you can use your own machine.
Yeah.
As
That's what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Okay.
The answer is insert your credit card, pay $49 a month for Bitrise, and never worry about that stuff ever.
Yeah, okay.
$40 to $100 a month, whatever.
So
problem solved.
Bitrise also using this cake scripting?
No.
No, they've got their own.
So no, Bitrise, so the world exists. If you think of the test runner, the executor, TeamCity, etc., it consists of a couple of things. It detects that there's a change being made, then executes a batch file. Cake is just a batch file. So what happens is, TeamCity is detecting as a change occurred, executes the batch file uploads the results back into TeamCity. Same principle applies with Bitrise. but you're not actually running like the infrastructure overhead. You're not having to if you run your own infrastructure, you have to patch Xamarin manually.
Yes.
Like you have to log on to your build machine, update Xamarin to the latest version, all that garbage is just shit. Or you just insert your credit card, $50, $90.
Yeah, not cheap.
Okay.
Trust me, insert your credit card.
Does Bitrise give you the
Bitrise gives
build
you
host as well?
detection. If Bitrise detects that
Yes.
an event has occurred,
Yes.
executes your batch file and has storage for the results. And they manage everything below that concern for you automatically. Like Xamarin stable channel updates, screw patches.
Okay, so they're doing the whole build everything.
Insert credit card, seriously. Don't
Yeah,
focus.
yeah, it's pretty easy. I mean, I've used it very, very quickly, and yeah, and not that expensive as well.
Yeah.
I believe we got a question.
Yeah, like a few nights ago I came across the Visual Studio Team Services, and that gives you like 5 user free, and does the deal. Like I set up everything in just less than 5 minutes.
Yeah,
So I don't need to worry about hosting, I don't need to pay anything. So
Also good, yeah.
yeah.
How do you build your Xamarin for iOS? Still you need a build cost.
Yes, but you can use your own local method type.
Yeah.
Download the builder.
Yeah.
but they also do another like hosted version.
Are they? They do?
use the shell
VSTS, yeah.
So the downside to that, the downside is this: Bitrise offers a drag and drop thing. So does TeamCity. So does Visual
VSTS,
Studio,
yeah.
VSTS. Problem with that is if you want to debug what's going wrong, you can't, because that implementation is specific to Bitrise or AppVeyor or VSTS. Whereas if you use Cake, you can just run the build and you know it behaves exactly as it says because it's just a batch file. But if you move all that configuration logic to your CI host, that means you can't change CI hosts, or you can't troubleshoot properly because it's no longer a batch file, it's a lot of magic you can't control. So you kind of constrain the CI host into executing, detecting a change, executing a batch file, storing results. But as soon as you move past that, you can't.
If something goes wrong with the build, I have no clue.
You pick up the phone, you speak with Microsoft.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please call back at 2 a.m.
Yeah. So.
Because you're in Australia. Fuck you.
So if there's no other questions, then yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks today. I've got your name right this time.
Yeah. It's
actually
pronounced Jose Reyes in Spanish, but
Yeah, I just got it right.
Jose is fine.
Okay, while we switch over, who wants some snakes?
Please take them. There's so many of them.
Thanks, Mitchell.
They're literally infinite. They're literally infinite. They're literally infinite. They're